Most guys in their early 30s are running in place financially. Your income is finally climbing, but life just keeps getting more expensive. And that whole wealthy retirement thing feels more like a vague idea than a real plan. What if the secret to getting ahead wasn't some complex financial wizardry, but actually just avoiding a few critical mistakes? I know, because I was making them too. I was stuck in that messy middle, working hard, but feeling like my financial future was totally out of my control. But here's the thing that nobody seems to talk about. You can turn it all around, and it's way simpler than you think. In this video, I'm going to break down the 5 exact money moves you have to make before you're 35 to get this handled. This isn't about wishing for a lucky stock pick. It's about making a few deliberate decisions that put you in charge. Once you get how it works, you'll wonder why you were ever stressed about it in the first place. If you're ready to stop drifting and start building, hit those like and subscribe buttons. Let's get into it. All right, the first and most destructive mistake is simply living without a real plan. You're finally making decent money, maybe for the first time in your life. But with that bigger paycheck comes a quiet enemy, lifestyle inflation. But here's the thing, without a plan, that new income just vanishes. It gets swallowed by a slightly nicer car, more dinners out, and a dozen subscriptions you forgot you even had. You're earning more, but your net worth is completely flat. The reality is, most of us don't budget. We think it's restrictive or something you only do when you're broke, so we wing it. We cover our bills, hope for the best, and tell ourselves we'll get serious about saving next month. But next month never really shows up. This isn't just a bad habit. It's like being the CEO of your own life and running the company with no business plan. Agitate. Let me be brutally honest about where this path leads. It leads to you waking up on your 40th birthday with shockingly little to show for a decade of your hard work. The stats on this are pretty sobering. The median retirement savings for a household headed by someone under 35 is a terrifyingly low $18,880, and that's looking at all retirement accounts combined. The average is higher, around $49,000, but that number is heavily skewed by a small handful of super savers. The reality for most is that one emergency could wipe them out. By winging it, you are actively letting small, unconscious decisions destroy your big, long-term goals. This is exactly how you end up at 50, feeling trapped in a job you can't stand with no way out. The solution is to build your financial GPS. It's actually simpler than you think, and I'm not talking about a complicated spreadsheet you'll abandon in a week. We're talking about a pay-yourself-first system. Before you pay anyone else, your landlord, your car loan, Netflix, you pay your future self. Here's exactly what I did. I sat down and defined my big goals: retirement, a house, financial freedom. Then I attached a number to them. A solid guideline is to save and invest 15% of your pre-tax income, so that became my non-negotiable first expense. I set up an automated transfer from my checking account to my investment accounts for the I get paid. Not the end of the month, the day after. The money is gone before I can even think about spending it. And that's it. That one move changes everything. It forces you to live on the rest, not try to save what's left over. The budget isn't about restriction. It's about giving yourself permission to spend the rest of your money guilt-free because you know your future is already being taken care of. It's the foundation for everything else. The second mistake is a quiet one, but it costs people millions over a lifetime. Passively ignoring tax-advantaged retirement accounts. You hear 401k and a Roth IRA, and your eyes just glaze over. It sounds like boring, old people stuff you'll get to later. But the reality is, thinking that way is a catastrophic error. The problem, you're either not contributing to your company's 401k at all, or you're just putting in a token amount. You haven't opened a Roth IRA because it seems like a hassle. You see these things as optional extras instead of what they are, the single most powerful wealth-building tool you have. Agitate. Let me break this down differently. Imagine your boss offered you a guaranteed 100% return on your money, and you just said, "No thanks." It sounds insane, right? But that is exactly what you are doing when you don't contribute enough to get your full employer 401k match. That match it's part of your salary that you are voluntarily setting on fire. But it gets worse. By not using these accounts, you're also giving up the superpower of tax-free or tax-deferred growth. Every dollar you earn from investments in a normal account gets taxed. But inside a 401k or Roth IRA, it grows in a protected bubble, compounding year after year without that tax drag. In your 30s, your most valuable asset is time. Every year you delay is a year you are robbing your future self of exponential growth. Solve. The move here is a simple two-step system you can set up in an afternoon. It's not complex. First, log into your company's 401k portal today and increase your contribution to get every single penny of the employer match. If they match up to 5%, you contribute 5%. No excuses. This is the highest guaranteed return you will ever get in your life. Second, open a Roth IRA. You can do this at any major online brokerage in about 15 minutes. A Roth IRA is funded with after-tax money, which means it grows completely tax-free and you pay zero taxes when you pull it out in retirement. For a young professional, this is golden. You are likely in a lower tax bracket now than you will be in your peak earning years. For 2025, the contribution limit for those under 50 is $7,000. Set up an automatic monthly contribution of $583 and just forget about it. That's it. That's the whole secret. My personal journey with this was a wake-up call. I realized I had left thousands in employer match on the table in my late 20s. The thought still makes me sick. Fixing it was the easiest raise I ever gave myself. Real quick, if this is starting to click and you're seeing how these small moves are the real secret, do me a favor and hit that like button. It tells YouTube you're getting value, and it helps get this in front of more guys who need to stop overcomplicating this stuff. Now, let's talk about what you're actually investing in. The third mistake is an emotional one, and it's falling into one of two traps. You're either paralyzed by fear, so your money rots in a savings account, or you're driven by FOMO, treating the stock market like a casino. Both are roads to financial disappointment. The problem? The fearful man has his life savings in a checking account because he thinks the market is too risky. The FOMO man is chasing meme stocks and crypto pump and dumps he heard about from a friend. He's looking for a lottery ticket, not an investment strategy. If you're the fearful man, let's be clear, your savings account is a guaranteed loser. Even with high-yield savings accounts offering rates around 4 to 5%, after inflation, your real return is close to zero or even negative. You're not saving, you're just treading water as your buying power slowly drowns. If you're the FOMO man, you might get lucky once, but you're just gambling. And gambling with your retirement money is one of the fastest ways to guarantee you have to work until you die. Neither of these are strategies. They are emotional reactions, and emotion is the enemy of successful investing. Solve. Here's the thing nobody seems to talk about because it's boring. The move is to adopt a boring, simple, and ruthlessly effective investment strategy. Systematic, long-term investing in broad market, low-cost index funds or ETFs. This is the strategy that legends like Warren Buffett have championed for decades for the vast majority of people. Here's the playbook. Inside your 401k and Roth IRA, you invest in something like a target date index fund or a simple total stock market index fund. That's it. You are not trying to pick the next Tesla. You are simply buying a small slice of the entire global economy and letting it grow. In your 30s, you have 30-plus years until retirement. This is a massive advantage. Historically, the stock market has returned about 9–10% annually over the long haul. Your job is not to outsmart the market. It's to stay the market and let time do the work. I used to think I was smart enough to pick individual stocks. The day I gave up trying to be a genius and just committed to automating my investments into boring, low-cost funds was the day my stress level went down and my long-term returns became predictable. The boring strategy is the winning strategy. Embrace it. The fourth mistake is treating high-interest debt as a normal part of life. We live in a culture that pushes credit card balances, personal loans, and big car payments as just another monthly bill. The biggest lie we tell ourselves is that this is normal. But here's the reality. High-interest debt is not a bill. It is a financial anchor actively pulling you underwater. The problem: you're carrying a credit card balance from month to month, paying 20–25% interest. You're trying to build wealth with one hand while shoveling huge chunks of your income to banks with the other. Agitate. Let's do some painful math. If you have a $10,000 credit card balance at 22% interest and you only make the minimum payments, it will take you over 20 years to pay it off. And you will have paid more in interest than the original amount you borrowed. This isn't just a small leak. It's a gaping hole in your financial ship. Every dollar you pay in high-interest debt is a dollar that can't be invested and grown. You cannot out-invest a 22% interest rate. Trying to do so is like trying to run up a down escalator that's moving faster than you are. It just doesn't work. The move is to declare war on your high-interest debt. The strategy here is the debt avalanche. First, you list all of your debts from the highest interest rate to the lowest. Next, you go scorched earth on your budget, temporarily. Cut every non-essential expense you possibly can. Your mission is to generate cash to fire at that single highest interest debt. Throw every extra dollar at it until it is gone. Then, take all the money you were paying on that debt and roll it onto the next one. You create a waterfall of cash that will wipe out your debts faster than you thought possible. I did this with a stubborn student loan and a car payment. It wasn't fun, but when I made that final payment, it felt like I had just given myself a massive raise. Unlocking that cash flow and redirecting it to my investments supercharged everything. The fifth and final mistake is one of fragility. It's building a great financial plan on a foundation of sand. It's investing for the future without protecting yourself today. This is the mistake of having no emergency fund. The problem: you have little to no cash saved for when life happens. A sudden job loss, a medical bill, a major car repair. Any of these would be a full-blown crisis, forcing you to go into debt, or, even worse, sell your investments at the worst possible time. Agitate. There's a psychological component here that's really important. Having no emergency fund means your entire financial future is always fragile. It doesn't matter if you have $100,000 in your 401k if a $5,000 emergency forces you to raid it. An emergency fund isn't about getting rich. It's a defensive moat around your financial castle. It's what allows your investments to stay invested and do their job, uninterrupted. The real wealth here is sleeping at night without that constant, low-level anxiety about money destroying your peace of mind. Solve The move is to build a fully funded emergency fund of 3 to 6 months' worth of essential living expenses. This is non-negotiable, and you do it systematically. First, calculate your bare-bones monthly survival number. Just rent/mortgage, utilities, food, transportation, and minimum debt payments. Multiply that by 3 to get your first target. Second, open a separate, high-yield savings account for this money. It needs to be accessible, but not accessible you're tempted to dip into it for non-emergencies. Third, automate your contributions. Just like with your investments, set up an automatic transfer every payday. Make this your primary savings goal even before you add extra to your investments beyond your 401k match. It took me about 18 months to build my 6-month fund. The peace of mind it brought was priceless. When my car's transmission died a year later, it was an inconvenience, not a catastrophe. I paid for it in cash, and my investment plan never missed a beat. This is what it means to be financially strong. So that's it. Those are the 5 moves every man has to make before 35. 1. Stop winging it. Build a simple, automated financial plan by paying yourself first. 2. Capture your unfair advantages. Max out your 401k match and fund a Roth IRA. 3. Ditch the fear and FOMO. Invest consistently in boring, low-cost index funds. 4. Eradicate your financial anchors. Aggressively pay down all high-interest debt. 5. Build your financial fortress. Create a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. Most men will drift through their 30s making these same mistakes, but that doesn't have to be you. The barrier to building wealth isn't intelligence or some secret formula. It's just discipline and time. These aren't complicated strategies. They are the fundamental, achievable steps that actually work. By turning these 5 moves into habits, you're taking control of your future. It's genuinely that simple.